I am Saul Sevilla. I am a student here at Aikens High School in Austin, Texas. I've always had a special love for cars. Every time I have some time off, I usually try building or drawing some cars. I would like to one day own a video game company and an automotive line of cars. School can be a bad thing when it comes to having so many papers due the next day, but usually school is a good thing, teaching you things and helping you be more social and interactive with your peers. I used Flash to create the simple background for my first project in animation class. I used a gradient to make my sky and brush tool to make my mountains and filled them in with my paint bucket tool. Then I drew in hills and a river and filled in my river with a gradient. I used the paintbrush tool to draw all my pictures outlines and then fill them in with the paint bucket tool. I used gradients on the mushroom cloud, the butterfly, and the lightning bolt. For my next animation, we used Magic's Music Studio. We first opened it, then created a new project. So I first started using drums, then basses, then rhythms, and then I slowly made my music. And then we exported it onto YouTube for the world to see. For the next animation, first I hand drew some balls in a 27 ball sequence bouncing ball order. Then on 27 different sheets of paper, I drew the different balls and then scanned the sheets, put them in a computer, and then made the animation of the balls bouncing in Premiere. I had to make this animation for a test using instructions. I included transparent objects, animated symbol, 2 characters, items, and elements, and principles of design. We had a t-shirt contest in the New Tech Academy. I used Flash and some pictures from the internet to make an NTA shirt for our Academy contest. NTA stands for New Tech Academy, best academy in the league. For our next project, it was an animation. I drew this animation to practice flip motion with more than one timing speed and speeds with what we did is we drew on separate sheets of paper and then scanned them and then made them into an animation and exported it onto YouTube. The next thing that was due was a short story script. Mine was called Goriha. It's Japanese for Godzilla, after the famous and most iconic Japanese car, the Nissan GTR. It's about the GTR being chased by a cop and the legend of the actual car and why it's so amazing. Next we made a kid's storyboard. The storyboard was a real pain, but I made it by drawing in Photoshop and getting the pic from the boom in folder. Then I made up a script, and with the drawings that I made, I just imported it onto the storyboard and made my short story. For our next project, it was an animation called Egg Skirt that we had to draw. First, I made this animation by hand drawing sketches of all the eggs and then put the other eggs on separate sheets of paper and then put them into Premiere with the video to show how changing position can move other objects. For the next project, we used Premiere to make this, and it was called the Fun Video. What we did is we made separate animations and put them all together to show our animations attacking the class. For our next animation, it was called Bones. I made this animation from the class in Flash, and using Premiere, I used bones and made some smoke and a background layer. For the next animation, it's called Children's Book. What we did is made a small little animation as if it was a children's book. I made this animation in Flash using motion to several layers in the library and animated them there and put them all on different scenes to make an animation. For the next project, it was a video game sketch for a video game designer and a company. I hand drew a spaceship and scanned it, so it's now in the computer, and colored it and finished my spaceship. The spaceship was supposed to be an idea for a friend of Mr. Broom's so that he could use it in a video game. For the next thing, it was an independent animation script project that I made for my animation class. We had to put it on an animation and later a storyboard. And what it's about is the coming year, 2017, but right now it's 2016, so it starts off with a 2, a 0, a 1, and a 6, and then they just stand there. But as the calendar changes, so does the 6 shape and face, because he gets old, and at December, the 6 walks off, and a baby 7 will come and take his place, marking the new year. For the next thing, it was an independent animation storyboard. I used Photoshop and a storyboard template to create the storyboard for my independent animation in Photoshop.
Changed the name of it and you put it
And
in your
our last thing is our demo reel. What we did is I used every project that I have ever done and put them all in Premiere, stringing them together, and used my portfolio and a snowball. I made audio of what my portfolio said and then put it into Premiere to present to the whole class and the world. The next thing was a Certiport certification test. I took this test for Adobe Flash to prove that I've been attentive all year and listening to what Mr. Rim said. For the next thing that we did, we went online and we went to Wix to create our web portfolio online so that people could see all the things we have done this year.